Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of KFWF Radio. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And you know what? I've seen some documentaries that they've just been throwing titles all over the place. So I'm also going to add brother, cousin, son, and most importantly, not father, Ozzy V as well. What do you guys got? What titles do you want to add under your names?
Greg. Oh. Greg's over here as a husband, juggler, video game player, and unicycler. I mean, really putting it all out there.
That's a feat. I don't know how you do that. Dan, what about you?
Horror podcaster, wrestling podcaster, sexiest hat on earth.
Wow. Okay. Well, if I could add
don't steal mine.
No, I have this. There's this thing in my head that I gotta like correct things when I see them, and I'm not the whole sexiest hat. That's I get it, but technically you should be saying owner of, because you aren't the hat. You are the owner of the hat.
I don't distinguish between the two.
And Dan,
no, but you're not a piece of clothing. You're not leather.
I've never seen it. That. I've never seen that hat off of him. So maybe at this point, it has fused.
If
there you
go.
If you
join the Patreon, he actually takes his hat off.
What?
Yes.
That's got to be like the 20. That's got to be like the $10,000 Patreon right there.
Kayfabe is dead.
Not the 50,000. Not the 50,000. Burn the hat. 10,000. Watch him take off the hat. It's got to be slow motion, set to 2001: Space Odyssey or Ric Flair's theme. Now, the reason I had to distinguish between the two is because Ric Flair's theme is at a slightly quicker tempo than the 2001: Space Odyssey. I've always spotted that, like, because I had the record when I was a kid, and I'd always listen to that song. So when I heard Ric Flair come out, it's like, it sounds like this, but it's quicker. So
and it's also loops the beginning over and over and never hits.
Yes, that's true. Yes. All right, we got all that stuff out of the way.
I guess screw Todd. It doesn't matter what his extra names are.
Yeah.
You're an undercard.
Add asshole to my titles, Todd. Other than producer.
Todd, producer, hat hater, father.
Todd's already in the ring.
You know what's funny about that? You say hat hater. I'm sorry. Is that all? I know you got more. Yeah. You want to add any more?
Not in the PG setting.
Okay, fair enough. How about PG-13 setting?
Borderline.
Okay, that's fair. Now, what I find funny about you saying hat hater is that your man cave, so to speak, has several hats.
Yes.
Several caps, baseball caps.
Yes.
So do you want to switch that to fedora hater?
I don't hate fedoras per se. Okay, here's something, and I'll just be 100% honest. I do not understand, and it doesn't matter what kind of hat it is, a leather hat. Like a leather baseball hat, it's like not hat material to me.
Okay.
It looks awesome.
If you were traversing a jungle, because you're saying you don't understand any reason.
Okay, well, no, I know where you're going to go. And when the heck is Dan traversing a jungle to need?
No. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
But that's not where I'm getting at. This technically has nothing to do with Dan. I'm only focusing on the fedora specifically and the leather hat specifically. If you were going on safari and somebody's like, here's a free hat. It's made out of leather. Would you take that hat? It's rainy. It's not hot. Kind of cold. Would you take the hat?
But let me ask you this. Did Dr. Jones ever have to wear a leather hat?
Oh, that hat went through some stuff.
Thank you.
If it weren't for the leather.
You don't know what this hat's been through.
You don't know what this hat's seen, man. You know what? I'm gonna think about this because I know there's got to be a reason. Like
I didn't say that.
Hats are expensive. There's got to be a reason. It's just piqued my interest. That's all.
I'm just not a fan.
That's okay. I'm just curious. No, but you can be not a fan. But when you say I don't understand the reason for a leather hat,
okay, I don't understand the reason for a leather
helmets.
All right. I've got to just say this since Todd went there. Can you believe Todd has seen every Harrison Ford movie except Blade Runner, like the best one?
Well, one, it's
Even
not the best
Firewall?
one. I don't. No. Dan just has.
Wait, you need to answer my question. Does this include or not include Firewall?
I've never seen Firewall. Dan doesn't even know what Harrison Ford movies I've seen. I've never seen Air Force One. I've never seen.
That's no. You've got to watch Air Force One. Is awesome.
Nah, it's that night. It's that 90s.
That is one of the greatest
90s
lines.
Era bad action.
Oh, and you're definitely not 90s.
No.
You know why?
I'm saying the action films of the 90s I am not a fan of.
Todd's colluding with the Russians. That's why.
What?
Hold on, Dan. Because Todd, you hated Bad Boys, right?
This is okay. Yes, but
and
no,
you hated Die Hard 2, and with a Vengeance, and Last Boy Scout. We can go all day.
But I hate 90s.
Yeah.
The majority of them I'm not a fan of. You name the ones I do like, but there's like Volcano, Twister, and all that era of
those that. I wouldn't categorize those as being an action. Those would be subcategorized as disaster movies.
Right.
Which I can see that. I think some disaster movies across all decades.
I like disaster movies.
I hated Deep Impact. Deep Impact made me want to stab my eyes with a pencil and break it off and hopefully die because I wasted 90 minutes of my life. I mean, I thought Morgan Freeman as president was going to be cool. But then I found out that Téa Leoni can't open her mouth.
But let's be honest. You did cry during the animal cracker scene in Armageddon. So, I
don't even know what that means.
How do you not know? It was like the most...
Are you talking with Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler?
It's like running the animal cracker.
You cried during that scene?
I said you did. I was insulting you.
If I cried during Armageddon, it was because Bruce Willis is going to stay on the asteroid. Keep in mind, I was 10 years old.
Okay, but just for the record, a good insult helps if the person knows what you're talking about, Dan.
Am I getting old? Everybody knows the animal cracker scene. It was the dumbest scene in movie history. Come on.
That's not true. There are much dumber scenes in movie history than that.
Name one.
Dumber than that scene?
Yeah.
Like, how about this? What genre you want?
Well, unintentional.
In a comedy?
Yeah, unintentionally is needed.
How about the movie The Room? The entire Tommy Wiseau, The Room. The entire movie is dumber than that scene, and that's proven because people remember it.
The Room is brilliant. You just aren't on a level that you can understand it. So
it's so dumb, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. There you go.
Okay, see, there you go. That it just okay, we need to move on because we're delving further.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you one thing.
Further tell me one thing that's not gonna delve into something.
Dan's mind cannot be changed. So just move on, or you're going to run yourself in circles and go crazy.
I was already moving on,
but I'm just warning you
saying that there's a piece in the back of my head that's like, come on, we can do this. Come on, come on, try it.
Yeah, there's certain genres.
I have to tell myself no. I'm going to keep going. We're going to get started with weird news. Couple of stories. First story comes out of So this guy was, in 1982, a high school senior in Bitburg, Germany, although his father was an airman. He was stationed in the Air Force Base there. So he left his senior class ring on top of a paper towel dispenser in a bathroom. Thought he'd never find it again, right? 2 weeks ago, he was reunited with that same ring. The guy who found it in a campground site 30 years ago. So this is 38 years old. 8 years. It went from Germany to a campground site in the East Coast. So that in itself is a movie. What happened to that ring? And the reason it took 30 years. So he found it 30 years ago. He put it in a safe, and then only recently decided to try to find the owner. I guess because, hey, nothing else to do. So there's kind of a timeline parallel universe thing that's happening, and that is, what if that ring, like, I'm thinking like original Child's Play, where somebody like did some spell and put a curse into the ring, or like Amazing Stories, and like the ring is like has some like evil power to it, or something like that. And so the person who did that wanted to get rid of it, so they flew to New York, went to a campground, and buried the ring, only to have this jerk dig up the ring and then give it to its original owner. And now, who knows? This guy might be like Sinestro or something, like, and have like, like evil Green Lantern. You know what I'm talking about? I just went into a tangent. I don't know what happened there.
Love you bring up all these different things about like this possessed, like, demonic ring, but you don't even talk about a movie that has a trilogy based about guys walking for 30 years about an evil ring to dump it into a freaking volcano.
The reason I didn't is because this story I was able to tell with a beginning, middle, and end in about 3 minutes. 180 seconds. Not 3 movies of people walking the entire time.
Thank you, Kevin Smith.
I will tell you this, and this drives my wife crazy, and Pugs actually also. I've never seen the third Lord of the Rings. I've only watched the first 2.
I
have no desire, but
I will say that I got some dirty looks in the theater because I was laughing when the hobbits were running down the hill. Because they had little legs, and with the people, everybody, like, and then you see these 2 little, like, and what are hobbits going to do? You know what I mean? And I'm literally busting up laughing, and I'm getting some serious dirty looks. Like, if these people weren't into fantasy fiction and actually went to the gym, they probably would have tried to kick my ass. But I just got the dirty looks. That's why I didn't bring up Lord of the Rings. But sure, if there was a golem that would be one reason to bring up, is that if there was a golem that is now coming from Germany because now somebody's in possession of the precious, let's go. I want to see some stuff happen.
You know what else those hobbits were doing, Ozzy?
Oh man, like I think that's the power of the hat talking. So
Clerks
we'll move on. We'll move on to the
please.
next story. Unless Todd, do you have anything you wanted to add on this?
I'm good.
He hasn't seen Blade Runner. You can just pass on him. It's all good.
All right. Next one comes from Tokyo, Japan. It's the Sumida Aquarium, where the aquarium staff has noted that 300 garden eels have now hidden at the site of staff. So if you're not familiar with what garden eels look like, they look like almost like thicker blades of grass that will actually hang out above the sand, but when threatened, they go under the sand. And due to no visitors to the aquarium, they've forgotten what the staff believes they've forgotten what humans look like. So the staff has actually set up and requested people FaceTime call these garden eels. They've set up 5 tablets where they're faced towards the aquarium, and people can they've asked to keep the calls short so everybody has an opportunity to, but they're asking people to actually call these garden eels. If anybody listening is interested in calling these garden eels, I will have the emails that you can contact if you are interested in the description. This is real. So I'll have that in there. If you could FaceTime call any animal and have a conversation with that animal, we're going to go Dr. Dolittle rules. You have one animal you can FaceTime call and have a conversation with. What would that animal be? Do you guys want me to go first? Need some time, or you guys got one off the top of your head? Because I can go first.
Go first.
I would want to talk to an eagle, like the predator of the sky. I'd be like, tell me your best stories, man. I want to hear it. What's it like to fly and just own the sky? That would be my. Or if we were doing, back in time, pterodactyl. Same idea.
See, I'm torn. Like, part of me feels like I would, if it were like a specific, like one specific animal, Michael Jackson's monkey. I want to know what happened. Like,
he's seen some stuff.
Right? But if we're talking like a group, like a species, pigeons. I just want to know if they'd sound like the good feathers from Animaniacs. That's all I want to know.
But are you willing to potentially go through that heartbreak that if they don't and they actually have an accent that's more akin to Downton Abbey?
That would be awesome.
Well, I say my word.
Because then I'd just picture him being like, I'm going to shit on that one over there. just so proper about it.
Almost reminds me of the ending of Spaceballs where you see the apes. Oh, shit. There goes the planet.
Got my Spaceballs jersey on today just for that.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to go with the easy one. I'm going to go with dogs. I really am curious what they'd have to say.
What's the thing you're most curious about a dog? Like, what would you ask? Like, what's the first question you ask?
Why do you yell at everything that comes near the door?
Now, so Greg said that I would want these pigeons to have the accent of the pigeons from Animaniacs. So what, like, would you want the dog voice, or would you want the dog you're talking to have the voice of a stereotypical, like, hello, Todd, like, voice, or would you have, like, a completely out of left field accent that you'd be like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to have an awesome conversation?
Well, I didn't think that far ahead.
I'm just off the top of your head.
I kind of want them to all talk like Mike Tyson.
Now, is that all breeds or a specific breed?
Well, I was going with all breeds, but then, I mean, that's a whole nother show. We could pick voices for what dogs would be with different breeds.
Well, we do have an episode next week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually writing this down.
Ludicrous.
All right. Excellent.
I would go.
I thought Ozzy was going to ignore you like he did me on the last one.
How dare you? Come on now.
Fishmen from Humanoids from the Deep.
We're talking about real animals, Dan.
I didn't say they had to be real. They're fishmen. You can communicate somewhat. Okay. They get the ladies.
I'll make my own rules.
I'm glad Dan gets the concept of this.
Who's to say that the fishmen don't exist? We know lizard people exist. Look at Zuckerberg. You don't know.
Oh my gosh. Excuse me.
I killed Ozzy.
Nope. Yeah. No, you didn't. And I don't think, I again, just a slight, tweak there. It wasn't you that did this. It was the situation that did this. If that makes sense.
Fish man from Shape of Water?
No, I think it's because it's like, oh, I would talk to like an eagle. I'd talk to some pigeons. I want to see what they sound like, if they sound like Animaniacs. Like, oh, I want to talk to a dog. I want to know what they're yelling at all the time. Like, I want to talk to humanoids. Like, so you understand? Like,
they don't
like,
talk.
What? Where are you? We're over here. We're hanging out over here. What are you doing over there? That's what was going on in my mind, and that's what I was laughing at. I mean, am I wrong? Like, you guys, or am I the one that's in left field? Like,
no, Tom Segura was right. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, Jesus.
Although, if he is a hat, then humanoid is foreign to him.
There you go.
No. But, well, I mean, Dan, when you said there you go, we were trying to, like, man, I'm confused in my own web of what I'm trying to say.
You're like a David Lynch movie. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Dan, you're being way too inside today. I mean, this is not Christian radio. No one's going to get any of your references.
I think that's also a good thing that's humorous about this whole thing is because it's kind of funny when somebody says, "Oh yeah, well, it wasn't like that time when got that hamster stuck in your ass." What are you talking about?
Richard Gere.
I know because
exactly
like it was that time. Like, nobody here knows that. Nobody knows what's going on. Like that they're looking at us like we're crazy. Yeah, it's funny to me, but nobody here knows that.
All right,
I want to
talk
that
to
plays
that
in
gerbil.
my head.
I want to talk to that.
There you go.
I want to talk to that gerbil. I want to hear his war stories.
Dan, it's not which animal could you be. It's which could you talk to.
I understand the question.
He could talk to a gerbil, but then like we've reached an answer that I was looking for. So fantastic, and we could get on with this first question. If this is your first time listening, we're going to play a song after the question. We'll have something to do with the answer. I will say that today's song for this question is in the realm of bullshit. It's fun though, if you really think about it, and I'll tell what it is, that connection that is. But first and foremost is the question in the topic of Major League Baseball. Target Field has been the home stadium of what Major League Baseball team since the 2010 season? Once again, Target Field has been the home stadium of what Major League Baseball team since the 2010 season? We'll be back in a few minutes with the answer. Target Field has been the home stadium of what Major League Baseball team since the 2010 season? Song I had playing was You Could Be Mine by Guns N' Roses. Curious, you guys have any guesses?
No.
None,
Nope.
right? Okay.
No.
So the song was You Could Be Mine because it was famously featured in Terminator 2, which was the greatest film that starred Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that's unanimous, at least arguable. Now, I think what's, however, unanimous is what is the funniest, what's the greatest comedy Arnold Schwarzenegger ever starred in?
Kindergarten Cop?
Get out of here. There's a better one out there.
Junior.
There's a better one. Who was in Junior with him?
Oh,
Danny
Twins.
DeVito.
Here we go, Twins.
Twins, because the correct answer is the Minnesota Twins.
Ah.
And you're right. I put Twins over Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't put Twins over any other comedy that he's done, we got to have a conversation. Anyway, theme park stories this week by request, by popular demand. I'll start things off here, and you guys can jump in. So this was at Universal Studios, actually, where they have a pub inside where you can get alcohol, hard liquor. So a couple friends of mine, this was a long time ago, we grabbed some Long Islands, and we went to the tram. However, and I should say that we finished one and then grabbed another one, then went to the tram. So we were kind of toasty once we got there. We saw a line for the tram, and, one had just left. But then one of the employees there was like, hey, this Japanese one's leaving right now. You can hop on that one. Like, why not? We already been, we're drunk. So we're like, why not? We've already seen this stuff. And, man, going on the Japanese tour, yet Universal drunk, was probably in my top 3 theme park. Like, that was an extra bonus. Like, it's almost like they could have advertised on TV, like, get drunk and go on the Japanese tram tour. I would have been like, let's go. If ever the opportunity, I'd recommend it. Just throwing it out there. And I will say at the time, this was circa 2004 or 5, so this was before all like the major new stuff got included in Universal, and you could finish that park in like 2 hours. So What do you guys got?
All right. So first, Todd, I have to ask you for a clarification on this because I think you know the story. Were we at Warner or Universal when I made my mistake?
I don't remember your mistake.
That's
harsh, Todd.
That's
harsh.
Something
he named him Todd Jr.
I want to say that was at Universal Studios. I'm 99% sure.
Okay. So I was pretty sure it was too. So we were on the Universal tour and getting off of it during Halloween Horror Nights. And, I was soaking everything in. Really cool. Haunts in general are where I'm at my most zen. I love haunts.
It was Warner Brothers.
It was Warner Brothers? Oh, okay. All right, we did both. So, all right, Warner Brothers. But we were getting off of the whatever it was, tram thing. And so just taking pictures, I take a lot of photos, all the atmosphere, all the decor. And I come up around a corner, and I actually get startled, like jump scare. And I start, I take a picture. It's this guy, looked like he was missing a leg, wheelchair. And as I'm taking it, I realize he's not part of the show. It's just a guy. And I felt like a douche. I just looked away and I kept going. But it was just where he was, and he was a little, messed up, and it was like, oh, God, no. Pugs
he was messed up? What do you mean he's messed up? Like he had no legs? He was messed up?
Not just
no legs were messed up, Dan? Is that what you're trying to say?
He was sitting there with, sunken face. It looked like it was like, ugh.
Would it make you feel better if he put fedoras over his stubs?
Might have been better, but he was not. It took me about 5 seconds to realize as I'm holding up my cell phone that he was not part of the show. And I felt really
so you were holding up your cell phone to make sure that he wasn't part of the show.
No, well,
so,
was it like I was taking
of course you had to shine your light, right?
He was waiting for like a bus or something,
But you still shined your light?
Well, yeah. I mean, I thought it was a haunt actor.
Oh, man. And then that guy was probably like, another guy trying to take a picture of me. Like, dude. That's just, again, that's what's happening in my head.
We were just at Bates Motel. I mean, I thought it was part of the show.
Sure. Because the no-leg dude in Psycho, everybody remembers him.
I think he was only missing one leg, but yeah.
Well, regardless, I don't remember an amputee in Psycho.
No. He was messed up in the face, too. It looked like it was something.
You know what's funny, though? It happened to Dan like 5 times that night, too. So.
That's messed up.
They're like, I love Wolf Creek.
Now, all right, John Jarrett has a cool hat. Also better than Indiana Jones.
Okay, hats are not what this segment's about. Todd, you got any theme park stories?
All right, well, which one to do? I have a lot for my teenage years, because I'll go with one of the happier ones. Back when they had the Skyway, I'm sure you should remember that. Mm-hmm. We decided, because sometimes, I don't know, how do I say this? Doing the marijuana, I don't know, smoking a blunt. I actually
were you on marijuana, Todd?
We were about to be on marijuana, and we didn't want to be on marijuana on the People Mover because that was too much of a bust. So we're like, let's go on the Skyway and let's smoke this because it gives you enough time.
Yeah.
They weren't like super cameras and shit back then.
Sure.
And so we get on. We're leaving from the Tomorrowland. We light it. We're smoking it. We get a few puffs before we pass Tomorrowland Terrace. I don't know. It got passed, and all of a sudden we just see it falling down to the ground, and it lands right by the trash can. So there's a dad with a stroller walking by. He stops. He looks down. He looks up. He looks down again. He picks it up, he looks at it, and sets it on top of the trash can. So we go back, then we're like, okay, cool. So then we come back on the other way on the Skyway, get off, we go, and it's right there waiting for us. So
funnier back on the baby grabbed it and just,
Well, are we going to revisit this? Because I forgot my Disney jail stand, too.
Oh my!
Oh no!
You got a Disney jail story. Let's go.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to. Let's let Greg go. I don't know. I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize, Greg.
No, it's fine. It's so tough to figure out one story to choose. Like I had worked theme parks from the age of 15 to like 25. It was. So there's a lot of stories have piled up, but I'd probably say one I'm torn between two, but I think one of my favorites has got to be I was working haunt at Great America, Bay Area theme park, and I'm on stilts over there and doing my thing, having fun scaring people. Someone decides it's going to be funny to hit me in the back of the knee, and that could be pretty dangerous, but I kept my balance, everything was cool, but there's like a code amongst your crew, so I said, hey, this guy tried to attack me, pointed him out, and we're a clown zone. So just picture about 20 clowns surrounding this guy. Like, it was awesome. And we all got around him, and he's trying to get out, and he is freaking out at this point. So much so, dude pisses his pants. And so I looked at everyone, I was like, you know what? We don't need to wait for security anymore. Let's go. And just, he paid his price. We were good. So, but that was about it, man.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh man. I mean, clowns or whatever to me, but if I saw 20 of them, like, just surrounding me and looking at me like, yeah, phobia or no phobia.
Mm-hmm.
Mine...
All right. Sorry.
Oh.
Wait, Dan, you told us you're Warner Brothers. You took somebody's wheelchair.
Oh, I did. Never mind.
Videos.
I had two.
Videos of an amputee. I want to hear the Disney jail story.
Photo.
Okay, so it was, God, I'm going to guess 1990 something. It was 2 days before my 18th birthday. So this has been quite a while. So we were decided to go to Disneyland. I had the annual pass. So back in those days, you could do what was called a transfer of the stamp. So you could all have the stamp to get in. You can normally do 4 off the one and just get a piece of tape, the whole thing. And then we had the black light to check it. So we were doing that. But before we decided to go to Disneyland, it's, we got to have some 40s and get ready. And we go to the park. And all of a sudden, well, I was like, okay, I'm going to have one more sip before we go in. My fault. And you know how Disney security is. All of a sudden, we're circled. We're circled by Disney security, the Secret Service with their things. And we all have to get out of the cars. They have us like all lined up. And this is the 90s. I had my hat on with the pot leaf. And someone had pot on them. And they were like literally on the other side. They had us like, I was already in the van, and then there was like 3 of them they were still interviewing. I'm sitting in the van watching, and like they're like having to put his hands up. My friend puts his hands up, like, and then like the bag of weed falls down his leg onto the ground, and yet somehow it was mine. They kept trying to say it was mine.
Because you had the shirt.
I was like, you saw it fall out of his pants. I'm sitting over here in the van.
Oh,
so,
man.
Because I was a minor, I had to go to Disney jail. So they took me into Disney jail, which legitimately had a Goofy painted on the door outside of it, and a little window. I think it could probably fit about 6 people. So I had to sit in that in Disney jail until my mother was out of town, I believe. My aunt came and got me, and I was the only one who got stuck in Disney jail because everyone else's birthday had already passed. So they were all 18, and they were just allowed to go.
All righty.
So I had my aunt.
Toledo.
So my aunt took me home. I stopped and got some more booze and continued the night. home.
Priorities.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
All right. Well, speaking of 40s, Potent Potables question. What IBA official cocktail is made with 2 parts Prosecco and 1 part fresh peach puree? And IBA is International Bartenders Association. Once again, what IBA official cocktail is made with 2 parts Prosecco and 1 part fresh peach puree? We'll be back in a few minutes with the answer.
Yo, baby, you know what's up. Girl, you can call me up, and you and I can talk for hours and hours at a time. It's an invitation to a conversation. So when things get bad, you know I'll be there to soothe your mind. Just call me up on the telephone when you're all alone, and I give you a verbal massage until your man gets home. Or if you want to, you know what you could do? Well, you could always hop in your car and you can come and bring my you didn't love me, you wouldn't be calling me up every night to wipe your tears, cause you and your man just had another fight. Who loves you, baby? I do, you know. He doesn't care about you, let him go. Where's he at now? You don't know. Laying up under some hold up. Wait, just let me chill. No need for me to get ill, cause every time your heart gets knocked over, you know I'll wipe the spill. I know this sounds like a fairy tale, but this ain't no children's book. I'm here for you to take me, dear. Baby, you can ring my bell.
Want IBA official cocktail is made with 2 parts Prosecco and 1 part fresh peach puree. Song I had playing was Ring My Bell. His correct answer is Bellini. Bellini being the correct answer. Didn't have much to think on that. Now, Todd, I know you're the resident, you know. Anytime I ask a Potables question, you're like, oh, well, I already knew that. Is that something you already had known?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, good thing every day. All right, gentlemen. Deep question for this week. What time era are you? Not necessarily what time era do you want to be in, rather what time era is your personality most like? Now, they may be the same answer, the time era you want to be in and the time era you are, but it still requires a different path of thinking to reach the conclusion of what time era you are. And that's what I want to unearth, so to speak. So I'll start things off. And I would say, at first I was thinking like, oh, 80s all the way, but that's just a decade. In terms of like an actual time era, I would have to say the Renaissance. The Renaissance area where everybody was just like, you know, acting a fool, basically, and just being creative and all that stuff. Like that's an area where, like, yeah, it just feels like that's the time era that I like encapsulate almost to a sense.
What
about you guys?
For me, early 70s, 42nd Street, New York, Grindhouse era. No, I'm not a PC guy, as you guys can tell. I like it when times were simpler. I think that was an era where people I know that have been through it, it was a lot of fun. A lot less worries. And although in a way, I guess, you know, just coming out of Vietnam, there's worries, but still, I don't know. Seems a lot more fun than 2020.
Fair. Todd?
I get your thought process with that one, which is I totally do. But I got to go. Anyone who knows me, it's not going to be shocked. I'm going with the 90s. Here's the positive about the 90s, though, Dan. You could still do 42nd Street. It wasn't gentrified.
42nd Street.
It still was enough. It wasn't 2000 where it became like all clean. It still was dirty. It's probably dirtier than the 70s at that point. But yeah, so you're thinking for entertainment and where you'd want to be.
Personality too, because I'm not a PC guy.
But there's more than just.
I could see you being Dark Ages as well.
Yeah,
because that's surely not PC.
You can just kill people and
pillage. Well, I mean, that like that kind of stuff was just like the Plague era. Like that was just commonplace.
I figured he was going to say cowboys and Indians.
It's an
Old West
adventurer hat, not a cowboy hat, Todd.
Oh, okay. So but here's what I thought you were going to say. I'll be honest. I thought you were going to go with the Caligula era.
Well, that probably is fun too. Anything went there, but yeah.
But yeah.
All right, Todd, what do you got?
I'm simple. I already said the 90s.
Oh, okay then.
Oh, you want me to pick like an era that we never actually lived in? Is that the whole thing?
No.
That's what I was thinking.
Because you said the era that most describes me. 90s.
90s of the current era.
Yes, not the 1890s. The 1990s.
There you go. And Greg, what do you got? I
honestly, between the juggling, the unicycling, the progressive music I love, and the occasional herb I smoked, I'm pretty sure I got to go with the whole hippie era. Like that's, although Renaissance would be fun, I think true to form, and plus I'm a guy who likes to walk barefoot in the grass. It happens.
You do encapsulate hippie pretty well.
Just a bit.
If there's ever a hippie in 2020, you'd be pretty up there. Although you do blend in well with the real world.
Thank you.
I shouldn't say real world because, I mean, honestly, for a hippie to survive, they need to make some adjustments. And you've made those adjustments, and you're definitely a hippie at heart.
Yeah, 100%. I shower, so.
There you go. Exactly. All right.
Take note.
This question is in the topic of science. In March 2015, NASA's Dawn probe entered orbit around what dwarf planet residing in the main asteroid belt, the extensive region between Mars and Jupiter? It is named after the Roman goddess of agriculture. Once again, in March of 2015, NASA's Dawn probe entered orbit around what dwarf planet residing in the main asteroid belt, the extensive region between Mars and Jupiter? It is named after the Roman goddess of agriculture. We'll be back in a few minutes with the answer.
Oh, mama, look there. The children are playing in the street again. Don't you know what happened down there? A youth of 14 got shot down there. The cocaine guns jammed downtown. The killing clowns, the blood money men. The shooting flows. Washington bullets again. As every cell in Chile will tell the cries of the tortured men. Remember Allende and the days before the army came. Please remember Victor Jara in the Santiago Stadium. Verdad, those Washington bullets again. And in the Bay of Pigs in 1961, Havana for the Playboy in the Cuban sun. For Castro is the color is a redder than red. Those Washington bullets want Castro dead. For Castro is the color. Double new spray of lead. The Moscow bullets missed. Ask him what he thinks of voting communist. Ask the Dalai Lama in the hills of Tibet. How many months did the Chinese get in a war-torn swamp? Stop any mercenary and check the British bullets in his armory.
In March 2015, NASA's Dawn probe entered orbit around what dwarf planet residing in the main asteroid belt, the extensive region between Mars and Jupiter? It is named after the Roman goddess of agriculture. Song I had playing by The Clash was Washington Bullets. And I'm going to, fair warning, this journey we're going to go on goes through the world of sports. Because the Washington Bullets now currently play as the Washington Wizards. They went through a name change, obvious reasons. Another team that plays in Washington are the Washington Nationals, who are the current Major League Baseball team, Washington Nationals, who are the current World Series champions. Because the correct answer was series. Well, that's some bullshit. I know. It's terrible. And also, unfortunately, what is terrible is that we are out of time. I'd like to thank Sunset Trivia for providing the answers. And thank you for listening, wherever it is, Blog Talk Radio, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're getting your podcasts. And don't forget the Patreon, patreon.com/fleshwound features. And for Dan, Greg, and Todd, have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
And, of course, thank you all for joining us. And because you did, in our hearts, you're all good enough.
Hello, baby.
What's that? Rock a what?